Motormouth Jenkins here, welcoming you to our brand new YouTube channel. Hope that you'll come back and see every segment each and every week, and I will share preventative maintenance tips and regularly scheduled maintenance tips for your car. So whether you know a little bit about your car or absolutely nothing, this is the channel just for you, where I share over 35 years of experience as a qualified and licensed service technician with truck and coach, light truck and passenger vehicles. Come back and visit us and tell your friends, and we'll see you each and every week right here in the Car Connection Workshop on YouTube. Hey, Niall Motormouth Jenkins here in the Car Connection Workshop. Friends, thanks for coming back and joining us. We have a lot of stuff to get through today, and I hope that you'll have a takeaway. Like a bacon double cheeseburger, I'm thinking takeaway. No, that you're going to get a few takeaways. So we got 3 segments to shoot. We're starting off with a segment on our rescued TJ Wrangler, 1997, the first year of the Jeep Wrangler TJ Sport, apparently. 2006, from what I'm told, is the last year. We are getting so close to putting the engine in now. Today is clutch day, and yeah, we should display this. Here it is, in its loveliness. Everything is on there that needs to be on. Everything's tagged that needs to be tagged. These little things here, I'll explain later. This is really important. It looks like nothing, but that's an engine mount. And they need to be loosey-goosey like this. And the zip tie, it's a 2-piece engine mount. So I've got the zip tie holding the 2 pieces together, because when this engine goes in, we need to drop the stud into, let me just get something to point with, into this bracket here. So the stud goes through, and then a bolt goes through and bolts it. So here's the bolts right here. So we'll clean these and treat those nicely. So you want those loose. So this side the same. This side is not freed up, so that is on my list to make sure that this side looks like that side, but the zip tie is on there. And you leave that zip tie on there until it's in, and then just clip it off. Everything is on. This is the alternation bracket, the alternator. This is 3 bolts that holds the power steering. Brand new water pump is on there, new thermostat. And I just painted this. So you can do all this stuff yourself. It's the same with the coolant tube. I sandblasted a whole pile of pieces when I first took the TJ Wrangler apart. And I stripped the old engine, salvaged what I could. So timing cover, I painted that, everything. And this is how I do a used engine. In my eyes, it's like a new engine to me going in. So I've gone through this engine top to bottom. Everything's been touched right down to the ignition. And the front drive shaft, the Charlie shaft, is all done, painted. And I kept the original manufacturer sticker from July 1996. So new U-joint is in there. The yoke is working 100%. We packed this with grease. The cardan joint is in great shape. We didn't have to do any work there. So the Charlie shaft is ready to go. This motor is basically ready to fire up at this point. Hook up the fuel rail, some mass airflow sensor, and the idle air control valve. Is that mass airflow? No, that is TPS. No, this is TPS. That is mass airflow. TPS back here, idle air control valve. So everything is done to the nines. But as I've been talking about and building this vehicle back up, we are so close. Now we just need to pressure wash the engine bay. That's going to be done this week. We're going to actually film that segment for you. Watch me, blast it across the parking lot. And so we're just going to clean this whole engine bay up, blow it dry, spray paint it, and clean it up, make it look like brand new. So today we've got to install the flywheel and the clutch, and I thought I'd share that with you as well because this is getting ready to drop in. Once the clutch is on, we're ready to drop it in. So a couple of things you need to know back here is I put a new plug in here. That's a freeze plug. New plug in here. That's a freeze plug into the coolant system. And it's a well-known fact, Nami, that these things leak oil. So this is a cap that is for what we call the jack shaft or balance shaft, counterbalance shaft that goes right through the engine block. So this is oil down here. So that's all in. And I just want to tell you this, fellers and fellettes. You're painting back here. You do not want paint into this area right here. That's your main seal, your main bearing seal to your crankshaft. Don't load this area up with paint. I had this all taped off nice, and I removed the tape this morning when I came out to the shop. You've got to make sure if you're painting back here, you don't get any paint into these bolt holes for the flywheel. You don't get any paint pushing itself into the rear main seal. You're going to have a big headache and open a big can of whoop-de-doo on yourself. So don't do that. Don't do that. And make sure that this edge here, which goes towards the bell housing of the transmission, that it is clean and smooth as a baby's bottom. Ew. Let's pick something else. Smooth as Canadian dark maple syrup. Oh, yeah. I want some now. Okay. All right, so that's where we're at. We're going to install the clutch. But first and foremost, yeah, and you know what? Just a couple things quick. This is a coolant temperature sensor. That's for the gauge. Okay, that's for the gauge. There's no electric cooling fan on this vehicle, and I love that. I'm not a fan of electric cooling fans. Details, details, details. Make sure you look. You'll notice all the sensors are cleaned. Everything's cleaned. And putting pipe dough on there. Take the time to do all that. Because you know what? I don't know. I can't speak for you. But I don't want to be messing with anything once this motor's in except hooking stuff up, cleaning up things. I know I got a couple of plugs that I need to replace for the exhaust O2 sensor. That's all messed up because somebody else did some work under there and didn't fasten a bunch of stuff up, and the exhaust manifold melts it. You know, do the job right, or just please don't do us all a favor. Don't touch it. Just, say to yourself, don't touch that. Step away from that donut and that hot coffee, or I'm going to treat you like a very bad donkey. All right. Here I have something very special for you, a special treat today. No, I didn't cook you anything. Chef Nilo's not in the house today. This is the flywheel, and it has been machined for a while. I fetched it out of the back of the Jeep yesterday. And once it's machined, you need to soak it down because you do not want this thing to get rusty at all. So what I do is I open a garbage bag and I lay this in there like this, and I spray some oil on the outside. Well, this is actually the inside and this is the outside. And it's been nicely machined, and that's how it's supposed to look. Now, as a special added bonus today, I'll show you what it shouldn't look like when you're putting a new clutch in, because I have a spare right here. And if you watch my video on how does that clutch thingy work exactly, you might want to review that. This is what it looked like when it came out. Oh, sorry, Skippy. Don't worry, you have another one. This is what this one looks like, and it's worn, and you do not put this back in until it looks like that over there on the chuck wagon. So show them, Skippy. Show them the difference. Make sure they understand that on the chuck wagon is what that flywheel needs to look like. It needs to be spotless and it needs to be machined. And this is machined perfectly. The guys at the machine shop, I'll put a plug in for the Precision Machine in Niagara Falls. Make sure you say hi to Dion and John. Nice guys there. They build some really heavy duty. They're busy right now. I was there early this morning. Racing engines, big time. They're busy. So I had this done several months ago in preparing to get this far, and here we are. We are here. So now what I'm going to do is I will play my recorder for you. Oh, it's in the shop. It's broken. Don't ask. Yeah. Some people don't like specific music from the recorder. All right, so what do we need to do next? See right in here? I left it in there on purpose. Chuck wagon's run away. The pilot bearing is here. And this is the old one, so we got to get rid of it and put a new one in. This one it's done. It's absolutely done. So we're going to knock it out of there and install a new one. So how do I do that? Well, I kind of get my hands on it. It's not working. I guess I got to look after it. You know, where do they come up with this stuff? Just be one with the ball, you know, if you want to learn how to golf. Just become one with the ball. Really? Really? Yeah. No. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, I got to get my handy dandy tool. It's a socket. I took a guess at that. I guessed correctly. Tell them what you won, Johnny. You won a stale donut. Oh, that's like yesterday. I won the same thing yesterday. All right, so we're going to knock that out of there. Just like tomorrow. And get that out of there. Ta-da! So that is our dead throw bearing. It actually is very crunchy. It doesn't, well, here's the deal. So this is how I'm going to sell it to you. Listen to me very closely. So you decide, oh, that doesn't feel too bad. And you put it in, and it fails. Now you got to pull the entire drive line out, transmission, drive shafts, and everything to get to this. You know what I'm getting at? You change it. So throw it out of the way so that you don't mix it up. All right, I got to go to the box of goodies, and we're going to put a new one in. So we're going to go to the kit, and we need a brand new throw bearing. Oh, sorry, pilot bearing. Throw bearing is in there already, in the transmission. So we need this little jewel. We need the appropriate grist to go on there. Apply evenly to the spline to avoid contact with the disc. Thanks, compressor. Friction material. So this is going to go on the spline, but we don't need to do that because I've already done it. So we need this piece. We're not there yet. So we're going to take this out. The compressor's on because we need it. Thank you. Please come again. So I don't like to put these in here. They pack it with some grease, but I like to take a little bit of this luba and put it in there. So you know how you get this off? I'm going to show you. And I'm going to make these pliers available to you. They're from Germany. Guys, you're going to want to get a pair of these. Watch this. It's over. Just like that. No messing around. I cut wire with those. I cut zip ties with those. I cut vacuum line with those. and they are slicker than goose poo. And I know that's slick because one time I was riding my bike. No, you thought I was going to say one time at band camp. I never went to band camp. But one time I'm riding down the trail here in Fort Erie on my bike, and it was late at night, and I had ridden all the way out to Chippewa from Fort Erie, and I did that twice a week, and once a week I rode my bike to Port Colborne from Fort Erie. So anyways, long story short, I see a storm coming, and I just got into Chippewa, and I'm like, I think I better turn around and beat feet. So anyways, I'm hooking it really good down the trail. So I'm just putting this grease in there that they provided for me to put on the shaft so that there's a little more lube in there. You don't want to put too much in there. And this is graphite grease, so it like stays forever. So never waste anything. So anyway, I'm scooting like crazy down the bike walking trail all the way from Chippewa, and I mean, I am moving it because there's a storm behind me. The clouds are black as the ace of spades. So I get past I get to the Peace Bridge, I fly under that, and that's shortly about, 2 minutes later, I would be sliding sideways on my bike. There's a huge flock of geese, and I see them, and I'm ringing my bell, and I'm yelling to get them off, and they get off of there. Well, let me tell you, they must have been pooping there for a week to 10 days, and I hit that goose poo, and my bike went totally sideways on me, and I didn't want to wreck my bike. The thing's worth too much money. So I got one foot down, I'm sliding sideways, and the goose poo is covering me. It's just like spraying. I was covered in goose poo. So that's where, the term slicker than goose poo came from. I don't know if I invented it, but I experienced it. And yes, it is very slippery. Okay, so we're going to install this pilot bearing. So that's where that term came from. So nice and easy. I'm just tappa, tappa, tappa. I notice I'm not going crazy on it. I'm just basically letting the weight of the hammer take it down for me, and then I'm going to put my little socket on there, and what I need is that's sticking up too far. I need it to be level with the flywheel. So you don't want to go too far, and then you're having to tap it back out. If you had to do it, you'd have to do it, but I just want to do it one time. I don't like to practice. So I just make sure I'm in there all the way. I'm liking it. We're good. All right, so it's in. That's done. So again, you want them, when you're doing this, don't be afraid of it. I clean that up after. So take your time. Take your time. That's the biggest piece of advice I can tell you is take your time and do it right. Okay, you know what I want right now? I want a blue towel, so excuse me while I get that. A blue towel. Yes. Alrighty. So what I want to do here is two things. Twofold. I just want to wipe the back of this. So I'm going to find the cleanest, dirtiest part on here because this doesn't contact the clutch. It doesn't. So I'm just going to do this. Just a quick wipe. That's all. Just like this. Because if there's any oil residue on here, because this thing's spinning as the motor's running. I mean, it's spinning you see the RPM gauge in the dash. That's how fast this puppy is spinning on the back side of the engine. So if there's any kind of loose oil or anything on it, it will fly via what we call vortex flow. Circular motion, it'll throw it out. So what we don't want is we don't want oil getting on our brand new clutch disc, because that is going to make for a very bad day. So now, like I said, I got that machined, and then when I went and picked it up from the machine shop, the first thing I did when I got it back is I laid some oil down on there and bagged it because I knew it was going to be a while before we got to this moment. So if you watch all the videos on the TJ, you'll catch right up to where we are today. And there are some very old videos in there from when the Jeep was still outside and we were hustling to get it ready and get it out of the weather into the shop. So you might want to go all the way back. So now I'm just going to take some brake parts cleaner. And no, I'm not going to spray my pilot bearing. I'm just spraying the surface. Take a lint-free cloth and don't press hard, just a gentle wipe. A very gentle wipe. You see that scrolling in there? That is done on purpose by the machine, and it's a very expensive machine that resurfaces heads and flywheels. And it puts that pattern in for two reasons. It's called a bi-directional, and if you really look at it, the circles go two ways, see? We come this way, and then we got some going this way. You see that? So we got some going this way, and then some going the opposite way. That is on purpose, because what that does is it creates a non-bidirectional surface so that the clutch disc doesn't, if you picture, here's a better way to picture it. Picture the needle striking the record. It finds the first groove and then it follows that groove. With a clutch disc, we don't want it finding a groove and just riding that groove because it'll put the groove into the clutch disc. So we need a bidirectional, perfectly flat surface so that when the pressure plate, and you'll see what that looks like in a minute. Again, I highly recommend go and watch the video. How does that clutch thingy work anyway? So if you have a manual transmission, you should watch that video so that you can see the broken components that came out of this Jeep. So we want the new clutch disc to hit a flat surface. Here it is. The mating flat surface is the pressure plate. You're going to see that in a minute. So first things first, let's take care of, and there's a little bit of goo there, I see. So we need to take care of that right now. So here's how you do it. Don't spray any cleaners whatsoever into your pilot bearing. Don't. I'm just saying do not. I mean, if you really want to, it's up to you. It's your clutch. So we want to make sure this is grease-free, oil-free. It's not going to sling anything onto this surface where the clutch disc needs to get squashed. So it's basically a clutch, flywheel, pressure plate, disc is in the middle. So this is the one slice of bread, the pressure plate's the other slice of bread, and the clutch disc is the sandwich, is whatever's in the sandwich, be it cheese or meat or whatever. So that's what we're creating here, is a sandwich. Who knew? All right, so let's get to work. We need something to help us here to line it up. We're going to need that to line up the clutch. We're going to need this in a minute. And we need the bolts. We need the flywheel bolts. And just let me think for a minute. What did I do with those? Here they are. I'm a Ziploc baggie guy, if you haven't already noticed. And the reason being is when I clean stuff, I need it to be clean and I need to be able to find it. So here's my flywheel bolts. That is an extra frost plug. That's what they look like before they go in, and they're pressure fit. So you got to tap them in there. I always use RTV. Silicone's one of my favorite ones from Permatex. No, they don't sponsor the show, but they might want to give me a call. Okay, so we need these. And we're going to put them right there because this thing is stinking heavy. And we're going to install this. So keep your hands off. Keep your hands and legs inside the cart during the entire duration of this ride. Keep your hands off the flywheel. So I'm going to put that on my trousers. I'm going to give myself a little more room here. Okay. And you might say, well, how come you don't have it hanging from the engine crane? Because that's a really bad idea. Okay? Because that's a really bad idea. That's how you wreck your engine crane. And my engine crane, I'll tell you what, a lot of guys in the business borrowed my engine crane. And you know what I said? The last thing I said to the last guy, I said, and he was in the same shop building where I was, and I said, do not leave any engine hanging on my engine crane, please. Oh, no, we won't. I'm the last guy out of the mall that night, and I look through his engine bay, through his shop window, and there's my engine crane with a great big block hanging on it, on the hydraulics. The next day, when I went in, I said, I want my engine crane back now. And that's the end of it. So I do not work on engines hanging from an engine crane. Because if the hydraulics let go, you're going to be under that engine so fast and screaming. This is safe. It's safe. And I'm working I'm fine with the position. Yeah. I just got to make sure I got this flywheel lined up, because it only goes in one position and I got to hold it. So I always get a bolt ready so I can get a bolt in. So if I need to take a finger break, because this does have, it has a lineup. So, and I'm not quite sure where it is, so. So let's see if that's it. Okay. If I have two bolt holes in a row, then I know I'm on it. If I only have one, I'm not on it. So I got to rotate it again. So just hold it and rotate it. Okay, so I'm there. So if this is a bolt hole, and I don't think it is, so. Okay, there's one. So I just got to get two to line up, and then I know it's in the right position. That one is good. I'm just going to turn one close here, get it all the way down, and then I still have a little sloppy looseness, because I'm going to pull them back out when I'm done. And you're probably saying, you're going to what? Yeah, see, I'm still not in the right position yet. So I have two lined up, but it's still not right. So we rotate it again. And there's probably an easier way to do this, and there is, but I'm not putting it on the engine crane and having it hang there. I will not do it, I'm telling you. I won't do it. This guy won't do it. So I gotta turn this. I'm just gonna have a little peekaboo and say, there's my, okay. So this one is a blind hole. This one is a blind hole. So I need to be, so this is bolted. That one's bolted, 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 bolted. So I just need to be in that clock position right here. These two should line up. Let's take a look here. Yep, those two should line us up. So let's go like this. Hold on to that. I will wipe this again before I put the clutch disc on, because it is hard not to touch the surface, but if you do, it's not the end of the world. Don't go running and screaming the sky is falling. because it's not. There we go. I think need to be. So I will wipe that clutch disc surface of the flywheel one more time before I introduce the clutch disc. So if 3 come together, I'm still not in the right position. So, okay, that's the position. This one here at the top. Okay, so that one right there. See if I'm right. I believe so. So again, it's patience. And it's easy if I'm laying on the ground looking in there, but I'm not laying on the ground today, not today. So I'm just going to rotate around to about right there. Put my lineup tool in there. Should have a bolt hole right there. This is what it takes, folks. It's patience. It's patience and paying close attention to details. Am I there? Nope. Don't have that bolt hole still. So it means I got to rotate again till I have it in the right clock position. Personally, I thought it wasn't clocked, but it is clocked. So rotate again to the next 2 bolt holes and see if you've got both of them together or not. This might be happy day. And 1 and 2. And the answer is no. So we have to see if that is a hole. Nope, so we got to rotate again. So go again until you got it in the right clock position. See, I don't have one there. So we got to go again. Got one there. Got one there. Got one there. So, should be one there. Yes, no, maybe so. This thing's getting heavy. I'll tell you what, I'm doing a double clutch on a Mac. You have this flywheel thingy is super heavy. I mean, it is really heavy. It's huge. Same principle, just because it's a truck. Okay, I'm just gonna put this one down and give my thumb a rest. I think it's coming off. Okay, let's hope we have it lined up. Okay, we're good there. Good there. Good there. As long as we have threads in all of those, it's a happy day. Yes. 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 And yes. So we have it. Okay, so what do we do next? I knew you'd ask. We get the sauce. These are purposely cleaned and put and bagged so there's no oil on the threads because we need to put thread locker on these, and I use blue Loctite. Here's how I do it. Just like that, and then I just give it a chance to roll around a little bit and make a mess on the floor. I love that. And then just stick it in. So this is a removable thread locker. Can we get a towel over here? Thank you. So, see, I got my fingerprints on there. So I will always do a secondary. So I'm going to leave that one there. I'll see how I put it all the way down for a reason. Because that one doesn't have thread locker on. So then I just give it a chance to kind of roll around a little bit. And this is removable thread locker, so it doesn't have to be heated to remove it. So that's why I use the blue There's only certain instances where I use the red thread locker, because the red thread locker, you have to heat the item that you've put it on in order to break the bond. So we're going to put that one in. Got another one here. So these bolts were all, I pre-cleaned them, washed them, and put them in to the baggie. Prevent contamination. And this is how you do it, folks. It's not about how fast you can do the job. It's about how well you can do the job. That's the secret. If you're looking for speed, I would much rather anybody who's working with me and being taught under my guidance, I want to see accuracy before I see speed. Because lots of mistakes happen when you're going too fast and you're not thinking, and that's what happens. So this is a critical moment. This is a moment in the car connection history. We're getting close to getting this TJ Wrangler running, and what's exciting is I've already done all the other grunt work. And you might say, well, what is that? Brakes are all done, all new brake lines, all new brakes front and back, fuel tank out, cleaned it, and I do have some old footage showing you some of that, so we're going to pull some of that old footage off of my GoPro, because at that time I was just kind of learning how to use camera equipment on my own, and let me tell you, when you see the videos, you'll go, yeah, we can tell. So, thanks to Skippy. Make sure when you leave a comment, always say thank you to Skippy, because without Skippy, there'd be nothing. Just me. You'd be just looking at me every day. Imagine that. Okay, we need a 3/4 socket, and then I will put the burp gun on this. Well, who did that? Right here. Always have 2 ratchets. Okay, so we're going to get these in, and then I'll just put the burp gun on there and torque them. And you'll say, why aren't you going to torque those? Yeah, I know what tight is. If you're just starting out, you need to learn what tight is and look up all the torque specs all the time. But I've been at this for over 44 years, and I built a lot of motors from Mack trucks. Mack trucks. Yeah, I'm still going through puberty. Yeah. My legs are hairy now, just so you know. I'm European. So I'm just going to snug these, and then I will put my burp gun on this and tighten them up. So, and then when I tighten them up, I'm going to tighten up in a pattern, which is crisscross, okay? So I'm just snugging these by hand, and then I will burp them. So this is just a snuggie. So I'm not torquing. So as I said, I know what tight is tight, and I've done a lot of torque specs in my head, and I know it's something, if you're a mechanic watching this, you know what I'm talking about. It's a feel. It's like music. I don't need to count the beats in my head. You feel the music. You can feel it as a musician, and you know the timing. You know the timing. So, all right, so we're going to burp that now. So I need, which one am I going to use? I'm going to use my big gun for this. Then we're going to wipe this off again. Then we're going to put get the clutch disc in there and the pressure plate, and that's interesting. That's where this gets really interesting, because that's where it gets, that's where the rubber meets the road. And that is where, my friends, everything needs to be done correctly. And on this particular bolt, before some guy leaves me a comment and says, you weren't using a heavy-duty socket. Yeah, you're right. An impact socket. Here's an impact socket. these gray ones. So on this particular, because these bolts are so close, I like to use a chrome socket. And no, it's not going to explode in my face. I've probably done a million things with this socket in 40 some odd years. So now, and folks, this is it. Organize stuff around you so that you're not tripping over stuff. Because the more you're organized, the better it is. Come on now. Same with this gun. This gun has done so much on big trucks, let me tell you. So I'm gonna go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. Now I'm going around again. Go here, go here, go here, go over here, come back to here, go here. Now I'm gonna give it one more burp, and that's it. So I'm gonna start here, go here, go over here, come back here, go up there, and end up here. And then I go all the way around. And I do that when I do wheels as well. It's just sometimes you think you got them all and you missed one. And that's a good way to catch it. And how did I learn that? Military instructor. So put all that stuff away when we're done. Here's our clutch bolts. See that? And I mark them. 97 TJ. When did I put them in here? February 2025. Pressure plate bolts, 6 pieces. This is how you do it and do it right. Just pan over, Skippy, to the how not to do it is the Corvette. That's how not to put a car together. I'm doing this project from start to finish, and this is how I do it. I do it exactly the same way every single time. And I'm always open to suggestions, but don't be offended if I just nod and smile, because I'm not saying I know it all. I'm not a big shot. I'm just a little shot that just keeps shooting. That's all. I've been blessed to have done all kinds of work on different equipment and to learn from what I think are some of the best mechanics I've ever seen in my entire career. I was blessed to have some amazing teachers. I'll move that out of your way, Skippy, and put it up here. How's that? You happy? Are you happy now? I am so happy to see you. All right, clutch time. This is the pressure plate. Notice, smooth, smooth. And I don't care if your neighbor says, oh, I just take my grinding disc to that and just clean her up. Yeah, well, you go right ahead. But I'll guarantee you, you're not going to be working on the space shuttle, partner. This is the disc, and it gets sandwiched in here. So when you push that clutch down, the pressure plate releases the clutch, and it spins between the two surfaces. That's what it does. And when you release the clutch, bam, it squashes it. So you need to make sure your hands do not pollute the disc. Your hands do not pollute the pressure plate, because there's all kinds of fingers in here, and this thing is loaded up with springs. And these springs are what get pushed by the throwout bearing, which is already in there. It comes up against here. So if you are a stick shift queen or prince, when you are at a stop sign, a stoplight, or waiting for somebody, get your foot off the clutch. Put it in neutral. Focus on holding the car in position on the brake pedal. Because what you're doing when you sit there, clutches in, that disc is spinning, and you're putting a lot of pressure on the throw bearing. And you'll wear it out. and then the bearing starts making noise because it's coming apart, and you're into doing a clutch job. So I don't know if your driving instructor taught you that, probably not, but you get your foot on, keep your foot on the brake and let the clutch out. So it's freewheeling, so that the throw bearing is not pressing down on this, because while your foot's on there, all the pressure's on the bearing here. So Skippy, if you want to show them the bearing, it's inside the transmission. Can you get over there? If you want to show them that, it's all set up inside there. There's what looks like a round circle thing. That's the saddle or the throw bearing linkage. That's what's going to press the center of this clutch to release it. So when you're sitting there at a traffic light or a stop sign and your foot's down on the clutch, all the pressure from the pressure plate is on the throw bearing. And it's taking a lot of heat, and it's not good. It is not good. So now I've cleaned this surface. So thanks for doing that, Skippy, just to show them, because this is where you get to know a lot more about your car if you drive a stick. So now what we need, what's really cool about this kit, is not only does it give you instructions, but it also gives you a pilot shaft, or what we call a jack shaft. And that is really cool because you never saw that. I've never seen that. But I've dealt with this company for a long time. I like their brand new clutches. I'm not a fan of the reman stuff. So, cylindres, receptors, internus. I don't know what that means. Okay, I'm studying it in a different language now. Cilindros esclavos internos. Oh, that means, let me translate. Internal slave cylinder. We don't have that on this. That's like Ford Ranger type thing. Okay, so this is your lineup tool. So you have to get this clutch. I have to get this clutch in here against there and line it up perfectly. That's all. Yeah, it's mind-numbing. Okay, again, do not touch the disc. If you do, you got to clean it off effectively. So what am I going to do now? I knew you'd ask, so I just kind of hold that, put my splines in there, line it up. There we go. Don't go all the way through. So now I got to get this into the pilot bearing that's pretending to be my transmission, and hopefully the clutch lines up. There we go. So we want to get that in there just like that, and we want to get a couple of bolts started. So you leave that in there. Don't let it fall out, because that's lining up your clutch and everything so that it works. So yes, you can work with one hand and get stuff done. The more you do it on your own, the more you'll learn how to manage. But folks, tag and bag. Again, I'm going to get some bolts started. These also have to have, I have to have blue Loctite on them. Okay? Okay? Okay. I worked with this sales guy, Bill. And he always said okay after everything he said, and it was funny. And we used to mock him out, but in a nice way. And Bill was an older guy. He was a good egg. And so the one day, I said to my staff, I go, okay, when Bill talks to you, everything he says, everything you answer back, you say, okay, okay, okay. I said, don't laugh, because he'll be saying okay, and you're going, okay, okay, okay. It was a scream, and it took him all day to figure out we were mocking him out. And he laughed so hard. He goes, you guys are too much for TV. All right, we'll wait for Mr. Compressor to shut up for a minute, because we're at a critical, thank you. Must have got my memo. So what I do is I get all the bolts in first on this procedure, and make sure you've checked your lock washers. These are in good shape, so I can reuse them. And you might, if you're asking, well, how do you know? How do you know the lock washers are in good shape? Well, if you look at them and you question them, then you change them. But here's what I'm looking for. See how it's divided? If I turn it sideways, see how it's divided? It's sticking up on one side. If I show it to you like this, you'll really see it. Right here and right here. If this is squashed, no good. If it looks like it's cracking, no good. Because you don't want these coming apart inside your clutch. So these are fine, in good shape. So we'll just carry on. If we can get the rest of the bolts in, it'll be even a happier day. So now we've got our pilot shaft in here. And what I look for is, I know I'm level when, okay, Skippy, here's where I want you to come into here, right here. You can see where, here's the edge of the pressure plate, right where the disc is getting squashed, and the disc is right here, and it's right level. It's not down, and it's not sticking up. It's perfectly level with the housing. So that's what I'm feeling for. I've done it for so many years, I can put a clutch in without this. Because what I do is I'll snug it up and then I can move the disc with my fingers, see? And I know where I need to be. So see how that spins in there? That's exactly what happens right at this moment. My foot is off the clutch. Just like I said, stop sign, waiting for somebody, put the shifter in neutral, let the clutch pedal up, and let this disc spin freely. Like that. That's what it does. It spins in there. When you press that clutch, you're pushing all the bearing is spinning on the input shaft of the transmission, so it's spinning freely, and when you press that clutch, that bearing comes against all these fingers and pushes this in. Have you got me? So when you push this in, it releases the clutch. So right now we're just centering it, and now I will begin the procedure of putting Loctite on the bolts. So here's how I do it. Let me show you. Follow me and I will show you the way. My favorite tool, my welding marker. So I am going to start here. That's my first bolt. So when I get back to that bolt, I'm done. So what I will do is I will put this bolt in down here, wherever it goes. I know there's another one there somewhere, right there. There you are, my little furry varmint. Nope, next door. Keep going. Keep going, keep going. Wow, there you are. I knew you had to be there somewheres. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, that's normal. That's how they press and cut this thing out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this one where it is. I'm going to take this one out. Okay, so this is where I will use my socket to be my fingers. Buzz it out. There it is, the sauce. Give it a shake. Blue Loctite again. That's what we got to do here. Just set that there. A little bit of blue Loctite on there. And back into the hole. Some guys don't bother, but I do. It's, you know, here's my point. I'm going to make my point. Not the one on my head either. I saw you looking. I got a lock washer, yes. If the lock washer were to fail, it might be flying around in there on me, but the Loctite will keep the bolt in there. Okay, so I'm going to get my socket on there and get that one back in there, and I'm running it all the way down till it's contacting. Okay. Some guys don't bother doing that, but I do. I just put a little, don't go nuts because I don't want to get, I don't want a big drool of Loctite on the disc. But I always put a little Loctite on there, just a little bit. Don't go crazy, just a little dab. That's it. Okay. So now once I have this one, now I'm going to continue around this way. So I will take my marker and I will dot that one, and that one, and this is my last one. Put my X on there. So I'm pulling this bottom one out. Again, just a little dab of blue Loctite on there because I don't want it getting on, I don't want it pouring out on my disc. So just a hair bit on there. Not too much, not too little. And get that right back in there right away. ASAP, get it in there. Snug it, just snug it down with your fingers. Pull the next one, right here. So I know where I am now. How many bolts does it hold? Did anybody count? Anybody? 6. 6 bolts. It's a 6-bolt clutch. Where are you, furry varmint? There it is. Those are things you need to pay attention to when you're working on stuff. How many bolts hold that on? And when you take it off, how many bolts hold that on? So I got a little bit on there. I just want a little bit more on there. There we go. Let's roll that around. I don't want it dripping off because it's going to get on my pressure plate. And I don't want that. I just want it to be a safety feature. Okay, pull this last one out. Then I can begin locking it down. So just a little drill on there. Roll it around. Don't touch it with your fingers, because then you contaminate it with the oils on your fingers and it won't hold. It was just the lid, don't worry about it. There's nothing living in there. You're okay. Whatever was isn't in there anymore. Okay, put the lid back on this stuff right away. You do not want to contaminate. This is like $40 now. It's incredible. It's gone up like, prices get any higher, they'll have their butts around their foreheads. If you know what I'm saying. Yeah, some of this stuff is, I can't believe the pricing. You really got to shop it. Okay, that's a really nice pizza box. Okay, so I'm done with that. And now I just want to make sure my disc is where I want it. So, like I said, I've done this so long I can feel it and I know where it's supposed to be and where it's not. But that's what this, it's a little bit low here, so I need to bring it up. So what I'm going to do is just back these off a hair bit. That's why I run them in by hand. And that's why I use my socket to be my fingers, because it just helps me. And I'm just backing these off, relieving a little bit of pressure. Then I'm going to move my disc up. See right here? My disc is down a little bit. It's down just a hair bit. So see if I can get it up there. And I can't, it's pinching it too much, so I got to back off just a hair bit more. Don't back them all the way off, because then the disc will slide all over the place and then you're kind of back to it. So as soon as I can move that, then I will bring that disc back up where I want it. Then I'll start snugging them down. And again, I don't snug them down in a circle, I crisscross. So I'm just going to see if I can get that. There we go. Did you see me move it? There I am, right there. I'm right there. So that means my disc It's right where it should be, and see it's not slopping. This isn't dropping down on me. And then I just look to see where I am in here. And then my finger goes all the way around and pretty even. One knuckle. So I'm one knuckle, one knuckle, one knuckle, one knuckle. And then I just, with my fingers, I'm just checking my disc, making sure we're steady Eddie. Good. And good. So now I start to snug it down, and this is where I use my socket to help me out to bring the pressure down on the disc. So I'll just finger tight, start bringing it in. So basically now we're making a clutch sandwich. So we're now sandwiching the disc between the flywheel surface and the pressure plate surface. And again, by hand. And they're starting to snug right up. So then I will just sneak around like this. And if I can put that in with my fingers, I pretty much got my pressure the same. Like I said, I've done this for so many years that I know what tight is. And that gives me my finger tightness. And I'm going to grab my ratchet. Would you like to have that? Okay. So now I'm coming down the bottom. I know where you are. There you are, you furry varmint. So I'm going to give that a couple turns. Couple turns. See how I'm crossing over? It's a circle. So you go boink, 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 never side to side. So here, 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 here. Just bounce back and forth. So I'm giving it like quarter turn. 1, 2, over here. 1, 2, 1, 2, back over here. 1, 2, 1, 2, quarter turn. 1, 2. Now guess what? Come back to here. Just go back the other way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Just count it off in your head. Or say it. I say it out loud. Then I know where I'm at. So that's 1 and 2. 1, 2. We're getting tight now. So I'm going back this way. 1, 2. Down here. This is loosening up, so I'm going to give this turn 3. One quarter turn. Going back this way because this one was fairly loose, so I'm going to see if we can catch up. 1, 2, quarter turn. Now I'm going to do quarter turn as I now start seating it properly. So this one's a little bit looser, so we'll just bring that to catch up. Then I'm going to come back, quarter turn, quarter turn, and you know, if you do this with air tools, that's up to you. Because you know what? You break one of these bolts off in the flywheel, now you got a project. I will snug them with my 3/8 ratchet when I get to that point. But I'm not at that point yet. So this way I'm not over tightening the bolts. I can feel it. When you got that thing hammering these in, and I see guys doing it, you are asking to open a world of hurt. And if you were in my shop and I saw you doing that, you'd be off air tools for a few days, because that's how you break stuff. And then I'd see them on this bolt, and then on this bolt. No, you don't. You want the pressure. See how the fingers are coming down? They're going in now. So I don't want to break or destroy a spring inside a brand new pressure plate. So by hand. Then you can, like I said, if you don't know your air tool, and I can't teach you that, how you know tight is tight, I can't. Just like if you're learning an instrument, I can't teach you how to feel music. You have to work on your music and then work with other musicians, and then you begin to feel the timing. And it's the same in auto mechanics. I know the size of the bolt, and I know how much pressure I can put on it. That's why I do this stuff by hand, because it's too easy to get used to the air tools, and you guys out there, you're over torquing everything. And it's not about speed. You're not saving any time, you're actually wrecking stuff. I see it all the time. You're wrecking stuff constantly. When I'm taking some stuff apart, I can tell you the character that put it together just went on it with the hand tools, without hand tools, and just put the battery packed impact driver on it and went nuts on it. See, the pressure plate down here is closer than at the top. You won't know that when you're using a battery powered driver. See, that's tight now. And I just need to give that a little burp on my gun, and I use the 3/8. And I've got this turned right down to where I want it so I don't break stuff. But a lot of you fellas out there are just getting on it and brrr, brrr. And I know, because I'm usually the guy that's taking it apart after you have made a mess out of it. So don't, guys. Just don't. Stop it. Get used to doing stuff and feeling it by hand. Oh, I know who. That's Skippy's phone making that noise. That's your phone. So now I'm just going around circular because I'm just snugging up. I'm not applying any more pressure. That's all I'm doing, see? I'm just making sure the bolt's seated. And it is, and I feel it. Now, I can take my air gun, which I have turned all the way down. So it's about 23, works out to about 23 foot-pounds. So all I'm gonna do now, hear that? There's not a whole lot of pressure coming out of there. So now I'm gonna go here. Oops, try this way. That's it. That's it, said the bee. Where's that bolt? There it is. And I'll go around once more. So now I've gone all the way around. So now that I know I haven't missed anything, I start with my star. And I just go around. And I can feel that on there. And I watch my socket. And it's not even moving on there. We're good. That's it. This is about 23 foot-pounds. I'm not brrr, brrr, brrr. You guys carry on and do that, because it makes me a lot of money when I'm fixing something for somebody and you've over-torqued it. So now it's centered. The disc is centered in the flywheel, and the pressure plate, and in the center of the pilot bearing, because the input shaft that's sticking out there looks like this. See? And you see that right down in, sticking out down there. You know what, let me get my dot machine and I'll zap it from over here. So what I'm looking at is, this is a jack shaft they give you for lining. It's nice, it's a nice lining up tool that came in the kit. There's my jack shaft right there. See that? That's gonna go into the pilot bearing. That just came out of the pilot bearing. Those are my splines. So this is your lining up shaft, your lining up tool. So now I know when I slide this motor in, that because this slides right in there perfectly and goes right into the pilot bearing, everything's lined up to line up on that shaft right there. So the tip of that is going to go right into the pilot bearing, and the splines are going to line up with the new clutch disc, and this has put everything in perspective so that it plugs right into that transmission when I get there. So that's pretty much the end of this deal. The clutch is in, it's on, and this motor is ready to go back into the engine bay. So the next video you'll see is I like to have a nice clean engine bay when I'm done. And if I was doing this job for you, I would do it exactly the same way. Cool. It's a nice little piece of steel wool. I would do it the same way. So we're going to clear the track, roll it straight outside the shop, and we're going to pressure wash this whole area. And then I'm also going to take the grinder and clean off all this scale here. See? Scale. So I want to make sure that my engine goes in. Somebody snagged my garbage out of the shop. I'll grind this surface off nice and clean, both sides. These are the engine mounts in the frame. So, and yeah. Then I got to deal with this. This is the wiring for the oxygen sensor. The plug was all melted. I'll get a new end off the interwebs and fix that up. So everything is on. Everything's ready to be plug and play now. Clutch is in. It's arbored. It's set up for me to install it. So now I can pull this out. Now I have a handy dandy little tool, which I think is really cool. And I think that's a very, very nice gesture that the clutch manufacturer, Luck, sends that along in the kit. So for you fellers that don't have a jack shaft to put the clutch together with, it comes in the kit. And I like the company for their brand new clutches. I was never really a fan of rebuilt clutches. Beware of remanufactured clutches. I don't order remanufactured clutches. I order brand new. And the reason behind that is I don't know if I'm getting a remanufactured disc or if the pressure plate has had all the springs replaced. On a reman, what they tend, when many years ago, buying something rebuilt meant the whole thing was rebuilt. Everything. They only kept the casing on stuff. But in today's world, they take it all apart and they only replace the components that are failing. So they don't replace everything. So I like to say the difference between a fully rebuilt and a cleaned up and fixed component, I don't want to touch that stuff because it always comes back. Yeah. Did you get the signal? 10 hours ago? So I hope you got a takeaway from that. It's great that we're at this point now and we've shared every step of the way to get to this point. So if you haven't watched all the other Jeep TJ videos, you need to go all the way back to the beginning of our list of videos on our YouTube channel, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, and get caught up all the way to here, because the next phase, it gets exciting. Because once the motor goes in, Then we'll set the camera up and you can watch me hooking everything up, and then Skippy will make it so that you don't have to watch 4.5 hours of me hooking stuff up. She knows what to do to speed it all up so that it looks like this. Done. Ta-da! So that's what we'll do for you. So that way you don't miss anything. The motor will go in, and then we'll just set the camera up, and I'll just work and hook everything up and fasten everything up, and you get a chance to see what that looks like, but in high speed. And when I see that on other people's channels and videos, they speed it up, and I go, man, if it only went that way. It's all right. Till next time, keep it under 100. Happy motoring. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, follow, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. We drop videos in our channel every Tuesday, 2 for Tuesday and 1 on Friday, so you get 3 new videos a week. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at Niall Motormouth Jenkins. So till next time, keep it under 100 and put the coffee on, because we're coming to your house.